All right, so it is, I'll look at my watch here, October 14th in the afternoon, and I bought the car on October 12th, so we've had it 2 days, and this is just a video record of the condition of the car when I first bought it. So you'll see it's a Pontiac Firebird, labeled as a 400, although it's truly a 326 high output with a 400 engine in it. So let's see some of the things that we notice from the initial inspection that are off. So one of the things is this rear fuel door doesn't close all the way, and the fuel cap might be at issue, so maybe we'll need to replace that. Rear bumper looks okay, although the more I stare at it, I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a dent right next to the license plate there, or at least a minor crimp in the rear fender. Paint is in relatively good shape, weather stripping in good shape. The hood, the trunk closes and locks and does everything appropriately. Some bubbling of the paint, which we'll see in a few places. I don't know if it'll show up on the camera. There's a little bit of bubbling there, I think you can see. Trim's in relatively good shape. You know, the wheels, I'm not crazy about the rims. Tires are relatively old. I think date codes are like 09 on the rears and 2014 on the fronts, so relatively old and in need of refurbishing. You know, a little bit of issue with the window stripping, the weather stripping here, the felt and rubber here has perished a bit and fell off. But otherwise, relatively good shape. Body panel gaps are not bad. The radio antenna, as you can see, is missing, and so the radio doesn't function at all. One thing we're going to need to fix. Trim around the front glass looks good. Wipers work, albeit slowly. The hood, you can't, I've got it propped open a little bit to show you the engine, but the hood fitment is not ideal. This is not the original hood that came with the car. And so when it's closed, and maybe I'll show you that at the end, the fitment is not perfect. But all the panels are straight and in good shape. The front of the car is solid and has everything you'd expect. You know, here is under hood. It's awfully dirty, so I'm going to try and have an engine detail tomorrow. Get some of this old grime and whatever may have landed all over the engine. Doesn't look like there's any particular sign of leak, but just a lot of years of dust and dirt. So the hood hinges are relatively new, and the previous owner explained that's why the hood fitment is not perfect when you close the hood, and he suspects that'll get better over time, but we'll see. So I just shut the hood. You know, you can see the panel gap there. The hood extends beyond the front quarter panel here, so it's not perfect. This side is relatively flush, a little bit too much room there. You can see it's raised and not flush on that side, which is one little annoyance. Again, here's the not perfect fitment there, and might not be easy to tell, but this is not laying flush, so we'll see if that's something we can fix. Like I said, the windscreen's in good shape, no cracks, no issues. You know, again, pretty clean. Hate the rims and tires, which we'll replace. Driver door, relatively good shape. Doesn't lock, which is a bit of a pain. So this lock mechanism on the inside not working, so can't lock the car. The other thing to note here is that this window is off its track, and so I don't know if you saw it bounce when I let it go, but it is not really operating as it should, and it's serviceable and responds to the crank, but it's kind of out of the alignment, if you will. I'll do the inside separately to keep this somewhat short. This looks like I thought it was a dent, but what it is actually a crack where the paint is effectively, it's split, and you can see how I can push that in. There was some bondoing here, I think is what he said, and somehow hot weather or whatever, this just kind of split. So it's not a crack per se, but a splitting of the paint. Again, same wheel and tire treatment. You know, a little bit of bubbling here. Can you see that? Yeah, you can kind of see it as I move the camera around a little bit. There's a little bit of bubbling in here. Not terrible, but some. Roof actually looks good. Used to be a vinyl top, and apparently a lot of work was done to treat some rust under the vinyl top when they pulled it off, but it looks relatively good underneath. At least it does now. You know, a little bit of cracking. I don't know let me try and turn the camera here. It's a little hard to see, but there's some, yeah, you can kind of see it as I turn there. There's a little bit of cracking in the paint. You know, little things like that. You know, the eye here moves, so that's it for the outside.